So, hello students. Now, this is a continuation video of applications of stack. So, earlier in my other videos, I have explained about different applications of a stack data structure. So, where we have seen how a stack data structure can be used to convert an infix expression into postfix expression or prefix expression. That was the first application. Then we saw how a stack can be used to evaluate a postfix expression or a prefix expression. Okay, now today we will see another application of stack, another use of stack, which is we call recursion. Okay, so recursion is a very common programming style, or it is a programming approach where we use most of the time while writing some functions. Okay, we have to create recursive functions, and we will see how a stack is helpful or useful in implementing a recursive function. But before that, let me explain you what is recursion or what is a recursive function. Okay, so now a function is said to be a recursive function if the definition of the function refers to itself. Okay, so now what do you mean by definition of the function? Definition of a function represents the function body. Function body means the set of code or set of instructions that you write as a part of the function. Okay, I'll explain you its syntax. Okay, so a function is said to be recursive if its definition of that function refers to itself. In other words, we can say a function is recursive if the function calls to itself. So when the function calls to itself, then the function is recursive function. So in a recursive function, what happens? There must be at least one statement in the function body that calls the same function again. So let me give you the syntax. Let us assume f is a function. So this is why I have written. So when I say it is a function, you have to know what is a function. A function is a block of instruction, or you can call a set of code, and those set of code shall execute whenever it is called from the main program. Okay, so if we follow C or C++ language, a function could be defined like this. Suppose f is the function. I am giving you the syntax of C or C++. We should write, let's say it's at return type, function return type. Let's say it is return type is void, then f, then this is my function, and then when I write the function, we must have an open bracket, and then we must have a close bracket, and this part contains some instructions, and we call this is the body of the function. Okay, this one is the function body. Now this function can be called a recursive function if within the body, when we write some instruction, at least there is one instruction where I make a call to the function again, to the same function. Okay, now suppose this is my first instruction of the function f. This one is second instruction, and in the third line, instead of writing any instruction, I have written f once again, and then given semicolon. This is in C language. Okay, so this is a call. We know that the instruction that we write in a function could be any type of instruction, and so it could be a call to another function also. When we write a function, and when we create a function body, these instructions could be arithmetic instruction, these instructions could be if else condition, these instructions could be loop statement, or even these instructions could be a call to another function. So now I am saying, instead of calling another function, if the body of the function contains at least one instruction where I make a call to itself, to the same function, then this function is known as recursive functions. Okay, so hope you understood the basic idea behind recursion. So basic concept of recursion. Okay, we will explore more. So whenever we create a function and make a call, within that function we call the same function again, then we say we have written a recursive function. Okay, now I am giving you an example of a recursive function, then we will get more clear. So I am giving this example looking into the by using C language syntax, but it could be written in any other language. Okay, now suppose I will create a function void f, and then here I have written int x. So what is x here? So x is a parameter, x is a variable or parameter in which the some value might be obtained whenever function f is called by the main program. So if this function f is called, then at the time of call some arguments must be passed, and that argument must be an integer value, and that integer value must be stored in x. Okay, now here I have written printf %d x. So the function will print the value of x, and once it has printed the value of x, then again I'll write f, then I made a function call again, and in the parameter I have passed x plus 1. Okay, semicolon. Fine. These are the two lines that I have written. Clear? Then I stop the program. Stop this function. This is the end of the function. Now if you carefully observe this function f, now the function f contains a parameter and the value of which is an integer variable x. The value that will be stored in x is actually an argument that the function will receive from its caller. So the function f will be called from some other program. So let us assume it is called by the main program, and at the time of call some integer value must be passed as argument to the function, and whatever integer value is passed, that will be stored in x. Now the function definition, this is what known as function body, or we call the definition part of the function. Now the function definition consists of two statements. In the first statement, the function prints the value of x. So whatever value it received, that value is printed. And in the second statement, a function has been called. Now which function has been called? The same function f, and in the parameter we just passed x plus 1. So whatever value the function f contains from its caller x, that value plus 1 is passed again when it is called to f. Now this function becomes a recursive function. Is that clear? Now how does or what output I will get if I continue, if this particular program will exist? It is not a complete program. If this function is called, then what will be the result? Let me explain you that, then we will go for exploring the more regarding recursive function. Now suppose the value of x that f received, this is the value of x. Now x received from the caller x equal to 1. So suppose whoever has called f, now definitely f will be called from the main program, let us assume, and the main program when calls f has passes 1. Okay, I have not shown here main program. Okay, let me tell you, suppose this is my main program, void main, and from main program nothing is written except one line f, and the data passed is 1, semicolon. And this is my main program. Okay, and before that there must be a hash include stdio.h. Okay, so when I pass f, when I call f, I passed value 1. So when first time this function f is called, the value that will be received is 1. Okay, so what output we will get? Okay, output, when the first instance of f is called, printf %x, so value you will get is 1. Why so? Because here x is, suppose this is x equal to 1. Okay, but now after printing 1, f is called once again. So when f is called once again, actually the same function is called. Okay, but we assume that there is we will assume that there is a separate set of function definition for the same f. Although in our program we will write it only once, but when the program runs, it is assumed that this entire body is again loaded in the memory as a different function. Okay, though it is f, but as a different function it is loaded. Okay, so the same code will be repeated. So x plus 1, when the second time f is called, the value of argument passed is x plus 1. So what is current value of x? 1. Now x plus 1 means 2. The argument that will pass will be 2, and this function value 2 will be passed to the x parameter. Okay, now for the second instance, see, when I say second instance, means a separate copy of the same function is loaded. Therefore, since there is a separate copy, the variable x is also a different one. And for the second instance, the variable x will have the value 2 because it has been called from the first copy of f by passing x plus 1. Okay, in the first copy, the value of x is 1, and when it is called, the f is called to the second copy. Let us say this is my second copy. Here x will be received as 2. And the second copy has the same definition. I am not writing the definition again. I have the same definition. Okay, what is the definition? First, there will be print statement. So now it will print 2. Then from the second copy, again the second line will be called to the function itself. But now the value passed is x plus 1. So what is the value of x for the second instance of f? Second instance of f does have x equal to 2. So when the second instance will call f again for the third time, it will pass x plus 1. So x plus 1 means the value of this value will be 3. So 3 will be passed to the third instance. Okay, now in the third instance, the first printf will execute, so it will print 3, and this process shall continue. 3, then it will print 4, 5, and so on, and this program will never stop. Because if you consider these two lines, first print the value of x in the current function and then make a call by adding 1 with x. So every time the function is called, the value of x in the second call or in the third call gets increased by 1, and those increased value will get printed. And this program will never terminate because there is no end. So this will continue executing forever for indefinite time. So this is the problem if you make a function recursive. Okay, so there are some other ways. So now I will say this recursive function that I have written is not properly defined. It is not well defined. So our objective is to create an well defined recursive function. Okay, so what is a well defined recursive function? If we properly not define a recursive function, then my function will keep calling again and again and again itself for an indefinite period of time. Okay, so therefore a program that will not continue to run for an indefinite time, any recursive procedure or any recursive function must have two properties. Okay, those are the two properties that we must discuss. Okay, so hence we will say a program Program is that contains function with recursive procedure that will not continue for indefinite time. That will not continue to run. That will not continue to run for indefinite time. For indefinite time, a program that will not continue to run for indefinite time, a recursive function must have following properties. Okay, so what are the properties? We cannot just create a recursive function randomly. We have to follow certain rules, we have to follow certain properties, because unless and until we carefully prepare a recursive function, my program will continue to run for infinite times. So my program will not stop. Okay, so what are the two properties? Number one, now there must be some parameter. See, in a function here I have passed the parameter, or here the parameter x received a value. So once I get the value of x, in this definition part I should compare x with a proper value, and we call that value as base value. So if the value of x satisfies with that base value, then my function should not call again. Okay, so I will say that there must be certain argument or certain value for which the function does not call itself. Okay, so there must be certain arguments. Argument means the value that is passed to the function, we call that argument. And when the argument is passed, to receive that argument there is a parameter. So here x is a parameter which will receive, here in this function x is a parameter which will receive the argument. So there must be certain argument which is called base value. So that argument value is called base value. So that if base value is available, then function should not call to itself. In that case, in that scenario, function should not call to itself. Okay, that must be the first criteria. So in my function there must be a if statement where I will compare the parameter x, or the parameter that I have written, that parameter must be compared with a base value. If whether the parameter is equal to the base value or not, if that equal to the base value, then the function will not call itself, and in that case the function will stop. Okay, so this criteria is known as exit criteria. Exit criteria means the function will stop working. Okay, second, suppose the argument is not the base value. When it is not the base value, the function will call itself, and when the function call itself, he has to again pass some arguments to itself. So in second case we will say, when the function call itself, so every time it calls itself, the argument that it pass must be closer, approaching closer to the base value. Okay, so every time the function calls itself every time the function call itself means the recursion applies, then argument that is passed should move closer to base value. Okay, so now when you make a call and pass the argument to itself, that argument value must be changed and must be closer to itself. Okay, so in that now if any recursive function that satisfies these two property are known as well-defined recursive function. So I am just modifying the previous example that I have explained. See, here I have passed x, and then I have, next time when I make a call, I change the argument. The function receive x and the function change the argument. But now here I am missing the exit criteria. So I have not mentioned anything that what you should do if a base value is reached. Okay, so now we know that when we run, it will keep printing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and so on. Now suppose I will modify this program a little bit, then what happens? So let me rewrite the program again. Okay, rewrite the function. Now suppose I will write void f int x. Now I want that if the value of x is 5, when the value of x, if the argument received in x is 5, then I should not make a call to function. Okay, my function will stop. Okay, so I want to print the data 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Then how I can conduct? I'll write here if x equals okay, not equals, if x not equals 5. I have said if x not equal 5. So when x is not equal to 5, then I say I should print x. Okay, I should print x and then I will call. Here I am writing printf %d x and then make a call f. Once I call, when I pass argument, I must be careful that whatever argument I should pass, that should move closer towards 5. Okay, so what I'm expecting, the first parameter that I'm expecting x. When the first time f is called, I'm expecting the value of x should be 1. So next time when I will make a call to f, I should keep increasing the value of x. Now I have written x plus 1. Okay, so as long as x is not equal to 5, these two statements will continue, and once x becomes equal to 5, then condition will false, my program will jump over here and my function will terminate. At some point my function is going to terminate. Now how does this program will work? Now suppose at the first instance the value of x equal to 1. Okay, so for this instance the value of x is 1. Now tell me what output. When the first time this function executes, it will examine x not equal to 5. So this is true because x is right now 1. So it will print 1. So my output will be, this is my output will be 1. Then next the second line will call f. So what happens? I am writing once again. When f is called, let's say again f. This is a different f integer x. So this will call the first, from this first call it will call f again. So let's say the parameter passes to this x. So what is the value passed? X plus 1 means, what is x here? 1. Now 1 plus 1 is 2. Now this x is a different one because this function f is a separate function. Although definition are same, it is considered as a separate function. So now this x will contain how much? 2. Now here also the same statement are there. If x not equal to 5, then printf %d x and f is called with x plus 1 as parameter. Okay, so when the second function f is executes and value of x is 2, parameter is examined, x not equal to 5, this is true, so move inside the print x, so it will print 2. Then again f is called for the third time, so again it will call a different function. So here x is 2, but now again f is called with integer x. Now for this particular case x becomes 3. Okay, so now value 3 will be printed. See, printf x, I am not writing the complete statement, so I am just minimizing my statement. Printf pf means printf x, and then f will be called with x plus 1 as its parameter if x not equal to 5. Okay, now x equal to 3, so 3 will be printed. Now again f is called, again it will call a different function. So the fourth function, the fourth function argument receives x equal to 4. Now here also x is not equal to 5, so it will print 4. Okay, now from here again it will call another function f where value of x will become 5, and from this juncture, from this the function will stop executing and it will come back. Okay, so this is how recursion is implemented. So in our next video I will explain recursion with some more examples, then we will be clear about recursion. Okay, so till then, thank you.